Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, March 31st. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these represents 30 minutes worth of time. So first stock we will be taking a look at here is ticker symbol TSLL. Big mover that we've watched over the past few days, and I know it's very popular out there, so I want to keep it updated here in terms of levels to keep an eye on and such. And right now the price is at a very, very important area, technically a little bit below it, and this will mean more to those of you that have watched the past videos. But if you have, you know that I put that trend line into place. And I was just talking about that being the overall level where as long as the price stayed above there, then you could make the argument that from a bigger picture standpoint, the price would still be in an uptrend. But as of right now, as I speak, the price is actually broken down below that level and is now starting to separate to the downside. So going into Monday now becomes a question of how bad is this breakdown going to get? And there are no guarantees, but at this point, I could very realistically seeing it visit that pink line down there, which is the very well-known, very famous 200 period moving average, right now valued at $9.11. But that is definitely, in my opinion, the most interesting dynamic, because to be fair, it's not like it's severely down below that level, but it has broken down enough to, make the question very, very valid of, is this the start of an even now bigger pullback? Because to be fair, all day long, it did a fantastic job, look at that, of honoring that trend line. But it's this last 30 minutes now that is broken down below it. So is this the start of something much bigger? Is Tesla going to get knocked down that much more because TSLL is an ETF for Tesla? So is there more bearishness coming for Tesla? It seems quite realistic now at this point. Next one here, LXRX. Good solid pattern here that has formed. So let's get this drawn into play. And as I draw this as I draw this pattern, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that there's some sort of great discovery or anything like that. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So actually, let's make this a little bit more proportional. There we go. Let me change that to green to represent the support part of the pattern. And then maybe to make just everything easier to see, let's keep it one color. So we have our area of resistance, we have our area of support, and then we have the big upwards move right here. And then for you golfers out there, try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. So now we're looking at a bull pennant pattern. So again, nothing is guaranteed, but call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. But if enough people are watching this bull pennant and saying, if the price comes up here and breaks, I think that might create more momentum. So I'm going to buy. Therefore, enough people buy, and that break in and of itself just creates additional momentum. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but a plausible thought to have. So if you like penny stocks, you like bull pennant patterns, keep an eye on it. Next one here, WOLF, Wolf, and this one got absolutely destroyed today, but it's now created a very interesting pattern, one of my favorites, and that is right here. Let me just get it drawn into place. And I realize it's kind of hard to see with the bigger gap down, but maybe we can try to, no, because now it's behind my ugly mug. Can we do that? No, that's not nice. So we're just going to have to kind of go with it. You're going to have to try your best to just see the pattern. But like I said, the big gap down, that just threw off the proportions of everything. There we go. That helps a little bit. So there is the bottom part of the pattern. Then we have that resistance line right there. So this would be a falling wedge pattern, which you would think is a bearish pattern, but falling wedges are actually bullish patterns. Again, just because something's bullish does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go up. But would it be shocking? Would it surprise anybody if the price came up here, broke through that level, and then got some more bounce to the upside? That would not be shocking at all. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but a more than valid question to throw out there on whether or not the price can indeed get some sort of bullish breakout through that falling wedge pattern. So if you like this price range and you do like the falling wedge patterns, here you go. Next one here, NIO, and I'm going to go through this one very quickly because you literally just heard me talk about this pattern. So there's our area of support. There is our area of resistance, and yeah, you guessed it, we have ourselves another falling wedge. What I think is most interesting about this one is, as of right now, it's knocking on the door. It is sitting right at the top of the area. So can the price get the breakthrough on Monday? Will the breakthrough generate more upside buying pressure, or is this thing going to be headed back down to back test the bottom part of the pattern? We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, as of right now, the price is very close to within striking distance of potentially breaking out. So we'll see if the falling wedge can indeed get the break. Next one, NVDA, and the bleeding continues. Levels of support continue to be broken lower and lower. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these levels as they serve their purpose for now. And the first key update comes about based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as support. So going into today, this 110.70 area was a level of support. With the price now breaking down below it, you would consider it and expect it to act as resistance. And sure enough, you can see it went sideways, did make a move up, and then just like that, you can't make this stuff. Classic example of this former support now acting as resistance. So going into early next week, if the price does try to curl back upwards, and yes, right here at the 110.70 mark will be the initial main battleground to watch. You also want to keep an eye on the purple line right there, 50 period moving average. Keyword being moving, because right now, yeah, it's not very relevant. But as next week plays out, that line is going to continue to move itself lower and lower and get more and more relevant. So keep an eye on that dynamic. Also, in terms of areas of support, no need to overcomplicate this. Just ask a very basic question. Where did the bleeding finally stop today? And the bleeding finally stopped on this one down here around the 109 mark. So 109 will be the first key level now, or the near-term level. And you can see the bears really did try hard, quite a bit, to push down through that level. But to give credit where credit's due, every single time it happened, the bulls stepped up in a strong way and would just not let the bears down below 109. So 109, as of now, seems to be a pretty strong point on the bulls' favor. But we'll see if they can maintain that into next week. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description area, or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, taking a look at PLTR, and yeah, not a good day either. Not necessarily because it was red, but just from a technical standpoint. Again, this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos. But if you have, hopefully memory talking about that green line right there as support, and you can see this morning, gap down, broke below there, and then that opened up the floodgates. But the surprising part was, even on this candle right here, I mean, it didn't care about the 200 period at all. It just dropped right down below that pink line also. So, I mean, it was breaking through all sorts of areas of support. So in the very near term now, just based on that rule that I've stated, when levels of support are broken, so yes, that pink line was considered an area of support, but with it being broken right there, you would now expect it to be an area of resistance. So any sort of curl back upwards, first key battleground to watch now going to be right there at $86.50. And then even if the price pushes up through there, as mentioned on a previous chart, keep an eye on that purple line there, 50 period moving average. So as that line moves itself lower and lower and gets more and more relevant, that'll also be a key level to keep a close eye on. In terms of areas of support, key level to watch initially going to be right here. And again, nothing fancy here logic-wise, just where did the bleeding finally stop? That was right there at 84.15. And you can see back through the history of things, 84.15 has proven to be an area of support right there before. But if the price cannot hold above there, then the next key area of support to keep a close eye on would be down here, right around the $82.50 mark. So yeah, rough close to the week here for PLTR, but we'll have to see what next week has to offer. Next one, SNSE. Again, sorry, I kind of fumbled my words on that one. SNSE. And this one here, it's not a terrible looking chart, but it's all about perspective. I mean, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, or whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 17 minutes, and then from that standpoint, the chart is a train wreck. But from the big picture point of view, even with the pullback here, sure, it's been bigger, but it's still nicely up above the moving averages. And that's what makes this interesting, is you don't want to abandon ship too far, or too quickly, I should say, when there is still some hope. And again, I realize just saying there's hope is just a word, but that's why I love charts, because they allow you to visualize hope. And what I would say, the main bits of hope are the 50 period moving average and 200 period. Now, I would say all hope is gone, and I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down here, break through both those, what would you have at that point? You'd have the price having literally gone right back to where it started. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves and then go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. In this situation, I'd basically call that a pump and dump. The pump and then the dump back to where it was. But again, that has not happened here. That's why there's still hope. The price is still got plenty of opportunity to stay up above those moving averages. So there is still a chance to build an overall higher base. Because even if it bottoms out right here, well, that'd be a low, and that'd be a low. And if you envision those as stair steps, big picture-wise, you'd still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So yes, this could look like a train wreck of a chart for you, depending on where you bought, depending on your strategy. But from the big picture standpoint, there is still that opportunity to build a higher base. So we'll see if the bulls can get that job done next week. Next one here, GME, popped back up in the headlines a couple days ago And then yesterday was a train wreck, and now today getting relatively interesting. And GME, it's not nearly as big of a cult stock as what it used to be, but there's still some, there's still some Kool-Aid out there. There's still some cult-like behavior out there, meaning there's still a lot of people watching it. And you got to think that, in my opinion at least, there's probably quite a few people that have noticed this trend line right here. And does that guarantee that if that level is broken? It doesn't, but I mean, very clean trend line. So call it self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. In my opinion, more than valid to think that if the price were to kind of maybe level out, come back up here and break out through there, that break could create enough buying pressure to make maybe a nice little trade from it. Now, by no means am I saying if it buys there, you invest for the next 30 years. This is all for traders. But my point here is GME, still a pretty watched stock. And when you have pretty popular stocks with such well-defined technical areas, worth keeping an eye on those levels to potentially get a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the flip side of things, 2115, talked about that in the previous video, continues to hold strong. But in all actuality, from the big picture of things, so we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big move down right there, and then we'll put the golf hole up here. So it's an upside down pennant pattern, which means in all actuality, this is a general bearish pattern. But again, just because there's a bullish pattern doesn't mean the price is going to go up. Same is true here. Just because it's a bearish pattern does not necessarily mean the price is going to go down. Next one, TSLA Tesla. Very rough day on this one. Again, not necessarily because it was red, but just because so many levels were broken. Namely, this trend line right here, which was, I really thought, if I'm honest, that the chart had a good chance of maintaining and respecting that level. And to be, a little bit fair to myself, the first 30 minutes, you can see right there, beautiful bounce right off the level, back up it went. However, the second move back down, that's the one that broke the camel's back. Down it's gone through there. So has that destroyed the entire chart? No, it hasn't destroyed the entire chart, but it has, kind of wiped away that a potential appearance of very, very strong. But the reason why the overall chart's still hanging in there is it's still above two key areas of support. First key level is right here, level that I talked about before, right around, let's just call it the 256.50 mark. But even if that level were to fall, you still have the good old 200 period moving average down there at basically 249.50. So like I said, big picture wise, today, not the greatest, but it's not like the chart totally fell apart. But there is still that aspect of, strategy and perspective. Day traders that bought right there, day traders that maybe bought the dip this morning right there and thought it was going to dip and go back up, so they're looking to buy and sell within 20 minutes. Yeah, all those sorts of strategies, sorts of people. This is a terrible looking chart for them. Hopefully they're out. Hopefully they're using stop losses. But point here being is that if you do care about the grand scheme of things, yeah, today, disappointing that it broke that trend line, but still plenty of opportunity to stay above these key moving averages or key levels of support. So we'll see if they can get the job done next week. Next one here, SQQQ, absolutely monster move on this one today. And it had everything to do with that famous 200 period moving average, which you now know is a pink line. But check it out. This morning gapped up, broke through there. Classic example of a back test. Broke above it, came back down, back tested it really quickly right there. So if you were one of the people that played that back test, congratulations. Because after that back test, boom, up it went. So moving forward now, let's map out some of the new key levels to watch. So from a resistance standpoint, key overarching level that is now within striking distance, and I could very realistically see the price going, no guarantees, but right up here at 39.35. In other words, if you say, I think the price can get up to 39.35, I would be like, okay, I don't know if that's going to happen, but you're not crazy because I see it as a previous high here, and then you just look back here, and there just isn't any other areas that suggest levels of resistance. So 39.35 does seem to be in play as a potential area where the price could work its way up to. If the price does pull back some, key area of support in the near term would be this former area of resistance right here at 37.70. Again, just that rule when levels of resistance. You can see resistance, resistance, resistance. When resistance are broken, they tend to act as support. But even if that level does not quite hold up, not the end of the world because you still do have the pink line down there, the 200 period moving average. But all in all, anyway, look at it. Very, very strong way to end the week. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, then go get signed up for the class next week. It'll be Thursday, April 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there as far as these top 10 videos are concerned. If you enjoy these, please hit that like button. And if you're looking for a super free and easy way to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button as it really does help out. So thanks for watching. Take care and make sure you go get signed up for the free class. Have a great weekend.